Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Texas Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. We are so excited to have you all join us this evening. A few housekeeping rules or notes before we get started, and then we'll get to jump right in. So first, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to use the Q&A button. This is a great opportunity to ask questions to the presenters at any time during this webinar. Second, your camera and microphone is off. You are muted and your video is off, so the panelists can't see or hear you. And there are more sessions going on. If you are interested in learning more about the other colleges and universities that are sharing, feel free to sign up where you registered for this one. And lastly, this recording will be available a week from today. So you are able to access this recording at strivescan.com/Texas. The order of presentations for this evening, we are in session B8. So where my mouse is right now. And so this is the order in which all our presenters will be going in tonight. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Bennington College.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. My name is Carter Strong. I'm Senior Assistant Director of Admissions at Bennington College, which is a small liberal arts college in southern Vermont. We're about 3 hours away from New York City and 3 hours away from Boston. And I'm going to give you a brief overview of what Bennington has to offer, the way that we structure our academics and our career preparation, and also give you a sense of campus life. So as I'm doing that, I'm going to show a quick slideshow just so you can get a sense of what the college looks like. So Bennington, as I said, is a small liberal arts college. We really focus on the traditional liberal arts, so things like social sciences, writing, the arts, performing arts, and then also the STEM disciplines. Bennington College is part of that large ecosystem of colleges in the Northeast. We're about 3 hours away from New York City, 3 hours away from Boston, and we're around the New York State capital region. So while Bennington is sort of a more rural choice, definitely a place that's informed by its location in the Green Mountains of Vermont, it's also really tapped into what New England has to offer as a region. So Bennington was founded in 1932 with this idea that we want to give students a really student-centered education. So our whole philosophy is based on this assumption that the best education is going to be the one that matches where you are now with where you want to be and really builds a pathway for you that's kind of custom made based on the things that you're interested in, the questions you have, and what makes you curious. So how does that happen? First of all, Bennington doesn't have general education requirements. We don't have majors. Instead of those things, we ask each student to enter into a conversation with their teachers and with staff mentors to really shape that education, pick those courses, figure out what you want to focus on in college in ways that are adaptable and flexible. So rather than saying your interests fit into this major, we're actually going to build that major for you from the ground up. So Bennington works to make sure that an education is comprehensive, that it speaks to the things you're interested in, but it also prepares you for life after college, right? We want college to be this transformative thing that changes you, that helps you grow, that really taps you into those things that you're most interested in. But we want to make sure that transformation continues after college. And that means being prepared for a career, being prepared for grad school, being prepared for med school, whatever it might be. So the way we do that is we pair that kind of open-ended exploration of academics with something called fieldwork term. Fieldwork term is this thing we've been doing for 80 years where every winter, every single Bennington student goes off campus and gets an experience outside of the world of college. So whether that's an internship, an apprenticeship, maybe it's an entrepreneurial opportunity that you launch yourself or some sort of independent research, fieldwork term is a way that you really get that hands-on experience in the field that you're studying. And this happens every year. So by the time you graduate from Bennington, you've had 4 of those experiences, building a resume, building a professional network, and really preparing you to succeed in your plans after college. And this is so key and so critically important, not just because we think that those educational opportunities that happen off of a college campus are just as valuable as those that happen on it, but it's key and important because we want to make sure, like I said, that you're ready to succeed when you graduate from college. We think that fieldwork term combined with that open-ended academic inquiry is a big reason that our graduates report being twice as happy in their jobs as the national average of folks who graduated from a liberal arts institution. So they're getting those opportunities to work in their field, to do the kind of work that means something to them, that they identified at school, and then kind of worked on building that capacity off campus. Finally, I just want to give a quick overview of what life at Bennington's campus looks like. So you're seeing some of these pictures, you're seeing this vibrant kind of performance culture, the vibrant culture of inquiry that happens at Bennington. And that's all made possible by having a really tight-knit, student-centered community. So every Bennington student lives in a house with about 35 to 40 other students. And together they plan events, they have a social life that they kind of agree on and work together on democratically. And then also students, take advantage of that tight-knit community to form really close relationships with their faculty mentors. Every Bennington student is going to graduate having worked very closely with 3 faculty mentors throughout basically their whole education at Bennington. They're also going to graduate having had a lot of opportunities to collaborate on original projects, whether that's in the arts or in sciences, maybe a combination of the two. They're going to come out of the experience being ready to collaborate in a fast-paced world that we know students go into after graduating from college. So thanks again for attending. That's the quick 6-minute overview of Bennington College. I look forward to speaking with some of you in the chat and then certainly following up after the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So next we have a presentation from Fordham University.
Great, thank you. I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so hello everyone. My name is Maria McMahon-Beelan. I am Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admission at Fordham University. We are the Jesuit University of New York, so we are located in New York City. We have 2 distinct campuses for undergraduate students. We have our Rose Hill campus in the Bronx, which is about 80 acres. It's home of Keating Hall, which is this building here in the center of this slide. Our Rose Hill campus is what many people think of when they think of a more traditional college campus environment. We've got the Gothic architecture, green spaces, and our Rose Hill campus is about 25-minute train ride away from Grand Central. Our other campus is our Lincoln Center campus, which is located in Manhattan, and it is home to McKeon Hall, which is the building you can kind of see split on the other sides of Keating there. Very different architectural styles. So our Lincoln Center campus is about 8 acres. It's 2 city blocks in Manhattan. For those of you familiar with Manhattan and kind of the geography of the city, we are at 60th and Columbus. So it's about 2 blocks away from the corner of Central Park, from Columbus Circle, not far from Times Square and Rockefeller Center. So if you're thinking of a landmark in Manhattan, our Lincoln Center campus is probably walking distance from there. So those are our 2 campuses. And at each campus, we have 2 colleges. We have Fordham College, which is home of our liberal arts and science programs, and we have the Gabelli School of Business. In total, we have about 9,000 undergrads. So that makes us a mid-sized institution. That's kind of how we're defined, though I really encourage students to think about what 9,000 means in their college search process. So kind of across the landscape of colleges, we're mid-sized, but 9,000 might be really small to you if you're looking at really big colleges, and it might be really big to you if you're looking at smaller colleges. So there's a lot of ways that Fordham, the community, can feel a lot smaller than 9,000. So I touched on our two distinct campus environments. So about 6,000 of our students are based at the Rose Hill campus in the Bronx, and the other 3,000 or so are based at our Lincoln Center campus in Manhattan. So it's already starting to feel a little bit smaller. And then when you think of the two colleges within each campus and the 4 class years within that, it's already starting to, again, just feel like a much smaller community within a mid-sized research university. And our student to faculty ratio is 13:1, and our average class size is around 22. So those are some really small classroom experiences that you can have at a school of our size. Now, if Fordham feels really small to you, or if 3,000 students at your campus just feels too small, that's a great benefit of our being in New York City. So there are millions of neighbors and millions of things to do if Fordham ever feels too small for your college experience. There's a lot going on both campuses. We offer 4 years of on-campus housing guaranteed at each campus. We have over 150 student clubs and organizations. We have Division I sports. We also have club and intramural sports. So there's a lot going on campus in addition to all that the city has to offer. Students could certainly spend all 4 years at Fordham not having to go off campus to stay busy because there's enough going on each of our campuses. And students could certainly spend all 4 years not doing anything on campus because of how much is going on in New York City. But the great benefit of our location and our campus environments is that it's kind of the best of both worlds for students, and they can really carve out what their 4-year experience at Fordham is like in terms of blending the campus and the city experience. Some other outside the classroom experiences that are really popular for Fordham students include study abroad. Study abroad is obviously on pause right now, but we do have our own study abroad sites in London, in Granada, Spain, and in Pretoria, South Africa. There's also a lot of research opportunities for students, not just STEM students, students in the business program, students in the performing arts. There are tons of opportunities for research on campus, and internships as well. Another great benefit of being in New York year round, or at least during the academic year, is you don't have to wait until the summer to be in the big city to have an internship in the industry you're interested in. In terms of applying to Fordham, we are on the Common app. So that's how students apply for admission. And when students apply, they do choose both a college and a campus. So again, Rose Hill in the Bronx, Lincoln Center in Manhattan, and Fordham College and the Gabelli School of Business. So you choose a campus and you choose a college, though you're not limited to just what that campus or college have to offer. You could take classes at the other campus or in the other college. Just one college and campus will be your primary home for 4 years. And I think I mentioned this, but 4 years of on-campus housing is guaranteed at both campuses. So when you're applying to Fordham, it's important to think about the college environment that you're seeking, the campus that you're most drawn to. It's less about where you can have a residential experience or where your major is offered. It's more about the kind of campus that you're drawn to in your college search process. And we're also test optional. So we will not require testing for admission or for scholarship consideration. And we have a ton of different virtual visit options. So I look forward to answering any questions that come in the chat. But on this slide, you can also see that you can check out fordham.edu/visit to see some of our virtual events and our tours and lots of other great info to learn more about Fordham if you think it fits into your college search process.
Very helpful information. Thank you from Fordham University. So next, I'll pass it over to Loyola University, Maryland.
Sure, thank you.
Yes.
My name is Nathaniel Brickhouse. I'm the Assistant Director for Regional Recruitment here at Loyola University, Maryland. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Appreciate y'all being here. So what I like to say about Loyola overall is that it really is the best of both worlds in a lot of different ways. So just like the other schools that you see here tonight, we're a smaller liberal arts school. Loyola, we're Jesuit Catholic. St. Ignatius Loyola founded the Jesuit order. So anytime you see Loyola in a school's name, you're going to know that it's a Jesuit school. And we're kind of on the smaller end of that smaller to medium-sized school. We have just under 4,000 undergrads. And really, when I think about Loyola, I think first and foremost about an individualized one-on-one education. Our classes are very small. Average class size is 20. Student to faculty ratio, if you prefer that, is 11:1, but I personally always like average class size because that's what you'll be dealing with day to day. And all of our courses are taught by professors. So if you're the kind of person who wants to be an active, engaged part of your class, and you want to develop relationships with your professors, Loyola Maryland could be a really good opportunity for that. I also think that it's the best of both worlds in that balance between campus and city. So we are technically within Baltimore city limits, but we're about 10 minutes north of the downtown Inner Harbor area. So really feels like its own self-contained campus. The immediate area surrounding campus feels more suburban rather than urban, honestly. And most of our students choose to live on campus. It's over 80% that choose to live on campus all 4 years, even though it's not a requirement, which I think reflects very well on the sense of community, that tight-knit community nature that you can find on Loyola's campus. Princeton Review also rates our dorms 10th best in the country, and sophomore year onwards, you'll be most likely living in apartment-style dorms. So no real reason in my mind to leave campus, stick around like that other 82%, and stay on campus and be part of that community. So you can kind of see here, we're nicknamed the Evergreen Campus, and I think you can get a sense for why that is. Even though, again, we are within city limits, it really feels like that traditional college campus centered around a quad. And I should throw out that we are currently doing tours, and we have virtual tours as well. So feel free to come to campus and visit if you would like. The other part that I think Loyola does a really good job kind of being the best of both worlds is in the approach to academics in terms of what's offered, and then what's also offered in terms of time just to explore those different options that you have. So you can see some of these stats that I've already gone over. The ones that I haven't said yet are that we are D1 when it comes to sports. We're in the Patriot League. We have a lot of clubs and organizations. Most of our students do live on campus, so we want to give them a lot to do. And then study abroad, 2/3 of our students study abroad, which is huge. That's about the highest percentage that you'll see out of any school. So it's something we really encourage our students to do. But on this slide as well, you can see that we have a lot of different majors and minors to offer. So if you know that you do want that more one-on-one education as a whole, but you might not know exactly what it is you want to specialize in quite yet, that's fine. With us, you won't declare your major until sophomore year, so you have time to figure that out. But we really do offer most of the things that I get asked about. So we do have an engineering program, we have business, education, psychology, most of the things, forensic studies, criminology, most of the things that most high schoolers that I talk to are thinking about or asking about, we do offer, but we also give them time to kind of find that out for themselves. So if you want time to explore, you want faculty relationships, and you want that depth and breadth, Loyola could be a really good option. And then I know that this is next year for most of you, but we have early action, regular decision. We're on the common application, so very easy application there. Most of our students do receive financial aid. We want to make this as accessible and financially attainable as we possibly can. So apply and you're automatically looked at for merit. We've been test optional for about a decade now, so really nothing changing with the current situation in terms of test scores or merit-based scholarships. And then the very last thing that I'll say before I turn it over to whoever's next is that Loyola really sets you up for success during your 4 years here. You get a lot of one-on-one advising. We have a universal first-year academic program where you get that really small seminar-style discussion-based class right off the bat, your first semester and first year of college. And that all really sets you up for success after you graduate. So again, if you want that one-on-one education, you want the campus-based experience, but access to a big city, and then you want those one-on-one experiences and that mentorship to help set you up for success, Loyola Maryland could be a really, really good choice. Thank you. Again, my name is Nathaniel Brickhouse. I look forward to answering your questions either here or via email. Thanks, y'all.
Very helpful. Thank you. So we are about halfway. So if there's any questions, that you have, please feel free to use the Q&A button and to also distinguish which school that you're referring to. And so again, all the representatives, all the presenters here are there to answer your questions and are helpful in any way. So this is your time. So now I will kick it over to Quinnipiac University.
Thank you, Catherine. Good evening, everybody. My name is Tim O'Sullivan. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Quinnipiac University. So I'm going to go ahead and share a few slides with you and highlight some important features of the school. All right, so we have actually grown over the last, I would say, 12 to 15 years to the point where we do have 3 campuses at Quinnipiac University now. And I always like to talk first about our Mount Carmel campus because this is considered to be the main campus at Quinnipiac. So if you hop onto our website and you want to take a virtual tour, or we are hosting in-person tours, on-ground tours as well, and you're planning on making a trip up to the New England area, we'd be happy to host you that way as well. But this is the campus where you would want to tour. And that's simply because you're spending your entire first 2-year experience on the Mount Carmel campus, no matter what your major is. This is where all of our major academic buildings are located. Carl Hansen Student Center, which is, you have study lounges, media rooms, dining hall, there's a Starbucks inside. And then of course our main library where our learning center is for any type of extra help study groups. And majority of our athletic and recreation centers are on this campus as well. The next campus I always like to talk about is our York Hill campus. This is right up the road from the Mount Carmel campus. This is a non-academic campus, so it's strictly residential. I like to call it the fun campus, and that's simply because upperclassmen live here. It's perched up on a small mountain. As you can see, the views on this campus are absolutely breathtaking. You're actually staring over the city of New Haven in Connecticut from this campus. So there's 3 major features. You have your upperclassmen housing. You have our People's United Center, which plays home to our Division I men's and women's ice hockey teams and our Division I men's and women's basketball teams. So it's actually set up like a split arena. So they each have their own arena. To the right is the hockey arena, to the left is the basketball arena. And then last but not least is our absolutely gorgeous Rocky Top Student Center. It looks like a ski lodge. It definitely gives you the feeling that, you're away in Colorado or something like that. It's all different shades of wood inside. There's a large fireplace room with leather couches and lounging chairs to relax in. There's a large deck area, as you can see from one of the photos there as well, that stares off the top of the mountain. And we just built a brand new bar and grill inside with a gaming room. So it's just a really, really beautiful facility for our students to utilize. Now, the third campus we have is in the neighboring town over in Connecticut and it's called the North Haven campus. It's only about a 10 to 12 minute drive from the main campus, but it's non-residential, so there's no housing here. It's much more of a graduate level, upperclassmen, professional style campus. This is where our med school is, our law school, School of Health Sciences, School of Education, and School of Nursing. So all of these programs, if you're interested in anything that falls under that category, you're not taking classes on this campus till much later on in your program. The earliest a student would be over there is year 3. Now, before I talk about our size, I really like to highlight where we're located. I know I mentioned we're in Connecticut briefly, but we're in a suburb of Connecticut. It's called Hamden, Connecticut. We are 15 minutes outside the city of New Haven and about a half hour away from the capital of Hartford. What's great about our location is that we are in a suburb. So we're surrounded by a state park, though, the main campus and the York Hill campus, hence the reason why York Hill is on top of a mountain. So it's very New England rural kind of feel. It's very beautiful and scenic, yet you're 5 minutes down the road from the suburb. So typical shopping centers, restaurants, things like that. And then 15 minutes away is the small city of New Haven. So we actually give you all types of off-campus surrounding areas to hang out and socialize. So it's lots of options for off-campus life. So that's one of the major pieces that I love about Quinnipiac University. And then on a grander scale, we're actually smack dab in the middle of New York City and Boston. You can hop on a train in New Haven and be in New York in less than 2 hours, or be in Boston in around 2 hours. So our students absolutely take advantage of that, having access to both major cities in the Northeast, not only socially, but specifically for internships. Experiential learning is what we're all about at Quinnipiac. So we really love our students to get out there, get their foot in the door for potential employers, and build up their resume while they're current students with us. We are a medium-sized institution, as you can see, with approximately 10,000 total students. What that enables us to do is give you great social life outside of the classroom. But yet inside the classroom, average classroom size is 24 students. You're going to know every professor by name. They will know you by name as well. And they also serve as your advisors. So it's a really, really hands-on educational experience. But yet outside the classroom, we have close to 150 student-run clubs and organizations. We are Division I athletics as well, 21 Division I sports. If you're not familiar with Quinnipiac, hockey is huge at the university. We are wildly popular. We're ranked number 11th in the country right now. We have players that have been to the NHL over the last few years that are playing the NHL right now. So the hockey games are a great, great school spirit kind of atmosphere for sure. But if there's also club and intramural sports, you have pre-professional clubs, of course, and Greek life is very popular at the university. Much more community service based, though. We don't have Greek housing at Quinnipiac. And then, of course, off campus, there's tons of local and global community service opportunities. We are very community service based university. Academically, guys, there's plenty of majors to choose from. There's 58 undergraduate majors with tons of minors that you can combine with those majors. And we love our undecided students. So if you're not sure what you want to major in, that is perfectly okay. We like to call it a journey of exploration. So you have plenty of time to figure that out. Your entire first 2-year experience at the university gives you that window of opportunity to explore the different majors and see what the right fit is for you. As you can see, there are 17 dual degree programs at Quinnipiac. What that simply means is that you're able to earn a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in a shorter amount of time. So we're putting a lot more value on the amount of time that you spend at the university. So great opportunities to save money and time, loads of schools to choose from and majors. And then, of course, we are a Common App university. We have multiple ways to apply. Definitely, if you're interested in Quinnipiac, hop on the website, take a look at these deadlines. That way you make sure you're getting your applications in on time. And again, thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate you listening. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to type them in the Q&A. Or you can email me directly.
All really great information. Thank you. Our next presenter is from Seton University.
Rachel, you're on mute.
You are muted.
Oh.
Yes, thank you.
Let's do this again. Hi, all. So my name is Rachel Dorch. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions at Seton University. So we are located in South Orange, New Jersey. So we are about a 30-minute train ride from Manhattan in New York City. Where we're located at, I would say we're in like a suburban residential area. So you're not in the middle of nowhere. You have access to public transportation, anything you need, whether it's restaurants, grocery stores, movie theaters, all within walking distance. And we're about 20 minutes from a international airport, which is really nice. Where we're located in New Jersey, you can get to pretty much anywhere you want to be in about an hour, whether it's Philadelphia, you want to go to the beach, you want to go hiking. We're located near a lot of different things. So we're a campus of about 6,000 students. So that means it's large enough for you to know people's faces, but you won't know everyone's name walking around campus. We have an average class size of 21, which is typically like a high school class size. And we have a student to faculty ratio of 14:1. We really pride ourselves on our students really developing that relationship with our faculty and staff on campus. Those large lecture halls you might see on TV or bigger institutions, you really won't see that on our campus. We have a ton of academic programs. Any type of program you can think of, we probably have it. We have a lot of joint degree programs at Seton University. For joint degree programs, you might hear it be a 3+3 or a 3+2. And really what that means is that first number will be how many years you'll spend working on your undergraduate degree. That second number will be how many years you might be spending working on your professional degree, like your master's. So our joint degree programs are very wide ranging. We have 3+3 law programs, anything in the health and sciences, whether it's physical therapy, physician's assistant, athletic training, joint MD. We have a lot of different programs at Seton Hall. One thing we do, excuse me guys, one thing we do have in common with all of our academic programs is this internship component. Is what we're most known for at Seton Hall. We're ranked number 4 in the nation for providing internship opportunities for our students. We really don't want you guys to be in the classroom. We want you to go out, learn, explore, and really build up those professional networks while you're in school. So we have a 92% employment rate. And about 81% of our students will have at least one or more internships during their time here at Seton Hall. This little graphic you're looking at is a very small fraction of where we would have students placed during their undergraduate career. So with student life, we have over 130 clubs and student organizations on our campus. The students is really my favorite part of the campus. They have a really good balance between working hard and playing hard. So our students definitely understand that they are there to learn, create professional networks, and take a part and be a part of the internship opportunities that we offer them, but they're also there to have a college experience, and they realize that. So our students are very active, whether it's participating in clubs and student organizations, Greek life, intramural sports. We are a Division I school, so we're part of the Big East. Our men's basketball team, very, very good. And all of their games are played at the Prudential Center. So think of it as kind of like our own personal Madison Square Garden. Even if you're not a basketball game, just going to the games is very electric. It's something that the whole Seton Hall community partakes in, which is a really good time. Another thing about student life, so we do have housing on campus. We have 6 dorms available to students. It's not mandatory that you live on campus. About 80% of our first year students will live on campus. So the big question, how much will this all cost? So cost of attendance is approximately $61K. What I will say is that only 2% of our students pay that full price, right? 98% of our students are on some type of Seton Hall aid. That's not counting money you might get from your FAFSA from the government. That's just counting Seton Hall money that we provide our students. So we give over $100 million in grants and scholarship each year. We have something called a merit scholarship, which is automatically applied to acceptance students' accounts. And the best way that works is the higher your GPA is, the more money in scholarship you'll be awarded. So some deadlines or some dates. So we have 2 early action dates, November 15th and December 15th, and 2 regular decision dates, February 1st and March 1st. The things that you need to submit is an application. It could either be the Seton Hall app or the Common App. That's the student's choice, so it's up to you. There is a fee, but I'm your admissions counselor. Reach out to me. I will give you a fee waiver code. No need to worry about that. You will need an essay, transcripts, and a recommendation letter from your guidance counselor as well as from a teacher. Now, for the fall, we will be going test optional for our students. So we will be test optional for all of our academic programs except our Joint MD program. If you're unsure whether you should submit your test scores or not, feel free to reach out to me. I will be more than happy to advise you on whether you should submit your test scores with your application or just hold off on your transcript. To give you an idea of our averages, we have an average GPA of 3.6, an average SAT of 1235, and an average ACT of 27. We have some pretty high averages. So I like to tell students, if you're around that 81, 85 mark for your GPA, that's going to make you a strong candidate for admission as well. Now, I know I just went on about transcripts and GPAs, but I will say at Seton Hall, we really do a holistic review of your application. We really want to know who you are as a student in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. So we are definitely paying attention to your recommendation letters as well as your essay. So we like to do a holistic review. We are offering campus tours in person if you ever want to come visit us. And we're also doing virtual tours as well. Another thing I would like to mention is that demonstrated interest is something that we take into consideration in the application process. So we want to know, are you interested in Seton Hall? The best way you can demonstrate interest is, attending events like this. I love speaking to students, so we can always schedule an interview. I like to say conversation instead, and it's just a good way for me to get to know you a little bit. So that's a nice little well-rounded summary of Seton Hall. What I'll do is in the chat, I'll put my contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you so much. Great information about Seton Hall University. So before we hear from our last presenter, I do want to make sure that if you have any questions, any last minute questions, to go ahead and submit those through the Q&A button. The representatives are here ready to answer any questions that you may have about the application process. So last, but certainly not least, is from Trinity College.
All righty. Hi, everyone. Thanks for hanging with us tonight. We know that it's a busy time of year and you have a lot going on in your personal lives, so we appreciate you spending some time with us this evening and hanging out for us at the end at Trinity. So my name is Courtney Roach. I'm a Senior Assistant Director of Admissions at Trinity College. I'm also a Trinity alumna. And today I'll be walking you briefly through the Trinity experience. I am really chatty, so I might go a little bit over, but promise to share my contact information. That way we can continue the conversation and hopefully get to know each other a little bit better. So jumping right in, I wanted to share a little bit about Trinity at a glance by the numbers, but also by the map, so you get a better sense of where we are. We are located in Connecticut, similarly to my friend over at Quinnipiac. Connecticut is a small state, but we are right in the city. We're in the heart of the capital city of Hartford. Hartford is just 2 hours from New York City and 2 hours from Boston. So it's really conveniently located right between two major metropolitan cities. But again, Hartford is the capital city, and there are a lot of resources within our city that I'll touch on later on in the presentation. I won't go deeply into all the numbers that you'll see here. At a glance, Trinity is a small liberal arts institution. We have just over 2,000 undergraduate students. But as you'll see from the last two numbers, although we are small, there are a lot of opportunities at Trinity. It is rare for a school of our size to have 41 different majors, 28 different minors, as well as over 130 different clubs and organizations. So you'll definitely won't be bored at a place like Trinity. So today, my goal, really briefly, of course, is to go into three major points of distinction, so that if you remember nothing at all from my presentation today, that you remember these 3 points. One is that we have an innovative approach to programming and our academic experience. 2 is that we have a really supportive on-campus community. And 3 is that our location is 100% an asset, as well as a huge part of who we are as an institution. So the first part I want to talk about is liberal arts and innovation. So liberal arts colleges, as many of you might be aware of, are really about academic exploration and academic freedom and flexibility. At Trinity, we do not require you to declare your major upon your application process. Instead, most of our students do not declare their major until the end of their sophomore year. As I mentioned, we have a lot of different academic departments. The 3 that I want to highlight really briefly are engineering department. We are one of just a handful of small liberal arts colleges that offers a 4-year engineering program. So you can do a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science, and then also pick a specific concentration. Our human rights program, we are the first liberal arts college in the country to offer human rights, not just as a major, but as an academic department. It is super interdisciplinary. So we have students who are in political science, who are engineering, who are in neuroscience, who will also take classes in human rights to get a better sense of how, no matter what it is that you study, it all relates back to the human experience, which I think is really important and also really relevant to where we are as a society right now. The last program that I think is really unique is our neuroscience department. We offer just a handful of master's programs at Trinity. We mostly focus on the undergraduate experience. The neuroscience program is one of the few that has a 5-year master's program. So you do 4 years undergrad, and then you stay on for just 1 additional year and complete your master's. At Trinity, we do not have any core classes. So our global distribution requirements is really your way of embracing the liberal arts. We think it's really important that by the time you've graduated, you've taken a class in the major disciplines in art, humanities, a science, and English, and a math class during your time at your Trinity experience. So that is our way of really encouraging you to take full advantage of our curriculum. And lastly, academic exploration is really at our core. We don't believe that your college experience is just about getting a certain degree in a certain department. It's really about fulfilling and really satisfying all of your academic cravings. You take classes based purely on interest. You take classes based on whether or not you're interested in the department, but also just where you're passionate about. And that's really important for us in our educational experience. So the second piece I want to touch on really briefly is just on campus community. At most liberal arts colleges, the campus community is really at the core, and we are no different in that way, that there are a lot of support on our campus once you get here. Academics obviously is a critical and crucial part of our experience, but is by no means is the only part of our experience. We want you to be able to develop not just as learners, but as people, as community members, and as member of society. And so we really do try to make sure that you have a lot of support from the minute that you get on campus. We do have a number of pre-orientation programs that help you with your transition to campus experience. Like I mentioned, we have almost 150 different clubs and organizations for you to take advantage of. And then we also have things like athletics. We're a Division III school, and we have 30 different varsity sports. And we have a number of different club and recreational clubs as well, everything from equestrian to rugby to water polo and skiing. We do also have Greek life, which is actually very rare for a small liberal arts college. We have about 20% of our students that participate in Greek life. It by no means overpowers our social team, but is an opportunity for students who are interested in pursuing Greek life on campus. The last thing I want to talk about today before I talk about some logistics is just the city of Hartford. We are by no means just a city in Hartford. We really try to be of our city and really a part of the Trinity and Hartford community. And so your educational experience will go beyond just campus limits and really kind of spill off into the Hartford community. We do that primarily through research, internships, and engagement. We have over 200 internships reserved in the city of Hartford exclusively for Trinity students. This could be our Health Fellows program, where we have a number of students who are working full-time at one of an area hospital, or it could be a legislative internship where you're doing a research at the capital city of Hartford. So that's a pretty cool opportunity as well. And lastly, just talking about some admissions things that are important. There's a lot on this slide, from deadlines to what we require. I want to point your eyes to two really important features. One, financial aid. We do meet 100% of calculated needs through the FAFSA and the CSS profile. And then also that we're test optional. We've been test optional for about 6 years. Last year, pre-pandemic, we had about 70% of our incoming class that did not submit testing. So it really is not a critical standalone part of our process, but really just one additional piece. Didn't get to cover everything, and I know I'm running out of time, but please connect with me one-on-one. I'd love to talk to you more about Trinity and what we have to offer.
Great, thank you. We do have about 3 minutes left. If we can go rapid fire, then we can make sure that everyone can be heard about this last question that we have coming in. So I'll go ahead and present the question, and if everyone can turn on their video and unmute themselves. And again, if we can go really quickly so we can make sure everyone has time to respond. So the question is, what is your favorite event or tradition on campus? So we'll start with Bennington College.
My favorite event or tradition at Bennington is midnight breakfast, which is a surprise each term where staff and faculty wake everybody up and make pancakes and play music for the students at midnight. And it's just a nice reversal of the roles on campus.
And my favorite event at Fordham is Spring Weekend, which happens in like April, right before finals, right after classes. And there's tons of events and concerts and comedians that come to campus. And it's just a really fun way to kind of close out the year.
For Loyola, Maryland, my favorite would have to be every spring we have a really big concert, and it's called Loyola Palooza, kind of like Lollapalooza. A little bit of a tongue twister, but it's always a really fun time.
From Quinnipiac University, I would definitely say during the first week of class, we have what's called our involvement fair. I find that that's just a really, really great way to help first-year students get acclimated and adjusted and find the things that are out there for them to get involved with. And then, of course, every day we have food trucks on our main quad. So I'm a huge fan of that. We have some really phenomenal eating options for our students that show up on a daily basis on campus.
And I guess for Seton Hall, it's an odd statistic to have, but we are #1 for celebrating Christmas. Christmas at the Hall is amazing. Like there's a cappella groups, we have a huge Christmas tree lighting, we have our own blue Santa hats. So Christmas at the Hall is definitely my favorite time of year.
And for Trinity, my favorite event every year, we have an international hip hop festival. We're in the 15th year where we have hip hop artists and hip hop scholars from all over the world that will come to campus, and there'll be bebop battles, there'll be performances, there'll be workshops. It's just a really cool and good time.
Thank you all. That was quick. I appreciate it. So it was, again, it's always great to hear from those who are directly affiliated with schools that can give advice and share information with all our attendees. So thank you all. Very great information. And thank you all for joining us. There is going to be a quick survey that will appear at the end of this webinar, and we just ask that if you have any feedback or anything to share with us, that if you could please fill out the survey. It is really greatly appreciated. If you are interested in more sessions, you are more than welcome to sign up for more. Again, today and tomorrow, there's more sessions going on throughout the week. And then lastly, this recording will be available where you registered for this one. And so that's at strivescan.com/Texas. Again, thank you all for joining us and have a great evening.